what they would do, and this was a very sacred instrument for them, it hadn't left the Sufis until more recently. And what they would do is they would say when you do tom, you're calling out to God. So this sound is you calling to God, the universe, whatever you want to call it. And then the jingles is nafas. So it's like nefesh, it's the breath of God coming back to you. So when you play, you're having a dialogue with God. So in my classes, I find that it's very Kabbalistic and it's very spiritual, and I wanted to give you guys a taste of that before we started class. Sure. So what they would do, the Sufis, they would play these beats and they would go into another realm where they would take swords, literally, and put it through their bodies and it would come out the other side with no injuries. Wow. So you're tapping into another realm. So I wanted to, so connected. So I wanted to bring that element into the class before we began. Okay, so we're gonna start. What is Kabbalah? Kabbalah is the universal ancient wisdom of the spiritual laws of life. So just like in the physical world, we have like the laws of gravity, there's spiritual laws too, whether we know of them or not, that we're living by. You can't say, I don't believe in gravity. Whether you believe in it or not, if you walk off a cliff, you'll fall and you'll die. So it's nice to know the spiritual laws that exist in the world so we could live by them. It goes into what's our purpose, why are we here? Kabbalah comes from, there's a book called The Book of Formations that Abraham wrote. This is the basis of all the religions, and it's also the basis of all the spiritual teachings like Taoism, Buddhism. All of that has threads of Kabbalah. The religions were here to kind of protect this information and pass it forward, but over time we've lost that sense. So before we begin, I want everyone to think about a painful challenge that you've gone through and the lesson that you've learned from it. Okay, so think about that, maybe 10 seconds, say it to the person next to you. What's a painful challenge you went through and the lesson that you learned?
You say out loud?
Yeah.
My mom has recanted.
Mine would be my dad. Everything that happened with my dad.
My husband. He got a cancer and we lost him.
Me too. Same actually, yeah. My sister on cancer.
My younger brother.
My dad.
Oh, wow.
Oh wow.
My dad is still on,
Oh my gosh.
but I'm thankful that they have a cure for it, and it's been a while. He's on their medication. It's been 10 years maybe, and
I can remember.
yeah. But I learned that still there is a hope always.
So those are big challenges, but we all have big and small challenges that we go through on a daily. Even small things like being cut off in line when you're driving somewhere, you know, the kids aren't behaving, financial issues, ups and downs, all those challenges are here to get us to a certain place. So the Kabbalists say that there's a universal energy, and they call it the light force that emanates. So we experience this energy, we all know about it. It's, you call it God, the creator, the light. It's kind of like, the way I think about it is like the sun. We don't have direct contact with the sun, but we feel the sun. We feel the sun's warmth. We experience the sun in terms of light. We see the sun makes chlorophyll in the plants and helps the plants grow. So this energy, this force, we experience in different ways too, not as directly. And we've all felt this. When you have a gut feeling, what is that gut feeling? You know, sometimes you think of someone and they call. What's happening? Those things are beyond our five senses, right? Like, it's almost unexplainable. That energy, that light is the force that science knows about it too. They don't have words for it, but it's the energy that creates a baby when a sperm and egg meet. It's that energy that holds the atoms together, or that creates that holds the electron moving around. Nobody knows why the electron moves the way it moves. We just know it does. We don't understand why the atoms, you know, matter is mostly empty space, yet we experience it as dense. We don't grasp that, but it's there, and we work within that realm. So that light force that we want is also all the blessings. Everything you want in life is energy, right? You want a new car, you want a new house, you want a purse, whatever it is. What happens after you buy that house? 2 years later, what happens? Do you still tap into that energy? Are you still excited about it? You bought the shoes, you were so excited, you wanted it. Okay, whatever, a few months later, now what? It's the same shoe. You're no longer connecting to the energy within that shoe. You're not connecting to that anymore. So this is kind of what we're trying to grasp. How can we make it that we could always hold on to those energies and use that to fuel ourselves? There's so much that we don't see. So this is kind of what we're talking about, that there's this energy behind everything. So in the world, we know with the light spectrum, what our eyes could see, the light spectrum is a really small, the color spectrum in terms of everything else. We have gamma rays and X-rays and radio waves and all these things, but we don't see any of that. It doesn't mean it's not there. What we can experience is red, orange, yellow, green. It's a very small amount. The Kabbalists explain that the white light, the endless light of the Creator, what happens? When it goes through a prism, what happens when light goes through a prism? It creates colors. So each color is like a different energy that we're looking for. So maybe you're looking for financial security or relationships or clarity or peace of heart, peace of mind. All those are different colors. So the Kabbalists explain, instead of chasing the colors, okay, each individual thing, if you just connect to that light source of the creator, that white light encompasses all of that. So it sounds simple, right? So that means you wake up in the morning, you don't need to worry about the 9,000 things that are on your mind. You have one job. How do I connect? Once you connect, the lights are on, the darkness is gone. We're all good so far? Okay, so the word lekabel, Kabbalah comes from lekabel. It means to receive. So what are we receiving? We're meant to receive anything that you want in life. Whatever you want, it's like that energy is at the door waiting to come in. You just need to open the door. So we're talking and learning about opening the door. That's what Kabbalah is, letting that in. The other thing that I want to say is this light that's meant for you, for your happiness, your fulfillment, no one can take it away from you. So let's say there's, you have a business. I sell cups and someone else sells cups. If they sell more cups or have more customers or they're advertising, I never have to worry that their advertisement is going to take my sustenance away, because the light that's meant for you is yours and nobody could take it away, and it's unlimited. So that cup seller can be successful and you can be successful infinitely. No one takes someone else's light. You don't take someone else's energy. So what are we receiving? We're born as vessels, right? And from the moment we're born, we're driven by our desires. The baby cries because it needs something. We wake up in the morning. Everything we do is because we want something. We need something. You need energy, right? You call someone because you want to fill that void. Maybe you're bored. You want to look good, so you go to the gym. You're hungry, so you eat. It's all based on trying to get something. That's how our bodies are created. That's how we're created. Our soul wants something a little more than that. So if we're meant to have everything, why aren't we born with it? Why aren't you born with good health and happiness and fulfillment? If I'm supposed to have all these things, why don't I just have it? So the reason we don't have it is because we're created in this world to have to earn it. How do you earn it? You need a challenge to make you, okay, how do we earn it? Let me backtrack, sorry. We have to earn it. So we have free choice to earn it. The way you earn it is you have to act like the light. So the light is an endless force of sharing, of giving. It's proactive. The opposite of proactive is reactive. So in order to tap into the light, you have to have the law, like you have to act like the light. It's the law of affinity, okay? The law of attraction. In order to be like the light, you have to act like the light. To receive the light, you must act like the light. So now this is what we're gonna go into. So you're in life, let's say you're at the supermarket and someone cuts you off, right? What do you feel in that moment? You're late, you have to pick up your kids are gonna be sitting outside, you're trying to get this thing, a person just cut you off, you feel a little irritated, you feel a little angry. That feeling is lack. What's your first reaction? Oh, I'm so annoyed, I can't believe they did that, right? That comment, that thought is reactive. In that moment, the way to not be reactive and to connect to the light is to pause, okay? When you pause, you're pausing your physical body, you're pausing your reactive side, and you're allowing space for a connection for the creator. So those are the times, those are the only times you're able to connect. And when you connect, you draw down all your blessings and you kind of upgrade your life. So it's like your same life, but maybe your spouse feels a little sweeter. Maybe the kids are a little easier. You have a little more peace of mind. There's more prosperity. Every single time you restrict your desire to react, I'm gonna say it again, you've upgraded. Okay? We're all good? Am I moving too fast?
So I have
That's
a question.
perfect.
If someone,
Yes.
as you said, ahead of you is going ahead of you, so you have to just let it go ahead of you?
They're not ahead of you. The race is not against them, it's you. All of your light, all of your sustenance, whatever's meant for you is here for you. The only thing you need to do is access it. How do you access it? By being proactive, by connecting to the light. Every time you put that physical side away, you don't react, you're connecting to the light. So what we need to do is we say pause. So someone, I don't know, they hit me with a card on the back of my heel at the grocery store. They cut me off. Maybe my daughter's being rude to me and I want to just scream at her. What do? I pause. In that moment, that's the only free choice you have, by the way. You had no free choice with anything else. Everything else is explained that before you were born, your soul, which is connected to God, saw everything that's going to happen and said, you know what? You come with baggage. You're born with baggage. Sarah is very irritable. Let's find a life for her to challenge her irritability so she could work on her irritability and overcome that. Okay? So I was given, my kids are wonderful, but I was given maybe difficult, annoying kids. Maybe I'm given annoying friends. Maybe I'm given annoying coworkers. Whatever it is, it's perfectly designed to irritate me so I can work on that. So my free will is, when that happens, pause. What a pleasure that this person is annoying me so much and I can work on this and connect to the light. Because if you have a peaceful day and nothing happens, guess what? You didn't reveal any light. You didn't move up. You didn't grow. You're not drawing down more blessings, right? So you want those challenges. Those are your opportunities for growth. What I tell my kids is when they fight, and I tell them, if you don't fight back and you just sit with that feeling and you don't say, shut up. Imagine the sounds like money, spiritual money going into your bank account. So I tell the kids, mommy, chink, 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 chink. There's money going into your spiritual bank account. So they could kind of have a physical. The other thing that I'm going to say is the amount that you're connected to the Creator. Okay, so let's say I'm 5% connected. I'll attract people who are also 5% connected. If I'm 75% connected, I attract people who are 75% connected. Okay, so that's a huge thing. I'm going to go into this a little bit more. Another analogy I like to give, that it's our weakness. We're here to work on that. When you go to the dentist is touching all of your teeth, and then it touches your tooth with a cavity. You're like, oh my God, don't touch it. Do you stop going to that dentist? I'm going to find a new dentist. I'm going to find a dentist that never touches my cavities. No, you stick with this dentist. The dentist says, no, this is our agreement. This is why you're here. This is why you came to me. You pay, I fix. I show your cavities. Every human around you, every situation that happens for you, not to you, is to awaken that. Okay? A little bit more. So we're born, like I said, let's say I'm an irritable person. Things in my life will happen perfectly to irritate me so I could work on that. Let's say someone else has abandonment issues, right? Before you're born with abandonment issues. That is what you're here to work on. Every time we come back, we reincarnate. We have, Judaism talks about reincarnation, Kabbalah, Sufism, it's a thing. You have like a lesson plan that you need to work on, okay? We all have many of them, but you have one or two main ones in each lifetime. So if my lesson plan for this lifetime is abandonment issues, before I'm born, the soul will see which life should we go into. I see this man and this woman, they're married, they're having intimacy, here it is, this is the soul, I could see what's gonna happen, that's gonna happen. My soul chose to come into this body to experience what happened. We were in Iran, day 10. My mom was only given 10 days maternity leave, and then they had to put me in daycare. the perfect situation to start poking on those feelings. What happens later in life? I lost my mom at a young age. Did that cause the abandonment issues? No. Those were the perfect scenarios to awaken that lack so that I could now work on it. So I could connect to something greater. So I could reveal light. The whole purpose of being here is to connect. Okay? Yes?
Do you always know what your plan was, or how do you figure that out?
Very good question. Wherever it hurts the most. Wherever you have darkness in your life, that's one area you could see it, or you could put whatever hurts the most. Like for instance, if someone says to me, I don't know, you're so short, it wouldn't hurt me. But if they say, oh my God, you look like a giraffe, you're so tall, that would hurt me. So you have to see what that point is for you. Where's your cavity? What's irritating you? And you know who to ask? Ask your husband. Ask your husband, ask your kids, because they'll tell you. When you connect to that level, when you're proactive and you're not being reactive, and you connect to what they call the endless. We were talking about this yesterday. It's kind of like this wavelength that exists, right? And that sometimes we tap into it, and that's when we get our gut feelings. That's when we feel like things are in flow. Things are working out for us, but it's hard to maintain. And when we say pause, you're pausing your physical body. My latest class, okay, he was telling me, Sarah, you're hitting all the notes right, but there's something missing. What's missing is my soul wasn't in it. I was in my head, I was in my physical body, trying hard to hit the notes, and I couldn't put my body aside. It's like pause. You have to put your physical mind and body aside to be able to play in a way where your soul comes through. And then in Farsi, they say del be del ra dare. That means when something is from the heart, it penetrates the heart. So we get that there's something more at play here. It's not just your mind and your brain, going through motions. Okay, so we said in order to be like the light, you have to act like the light. So we have to know what is the attributes of the light. The first one we said is the light is a proactive force, not reactive. When we're reactive, like let's say someone says something that I don't like, but I'm offended. Someone offended me, okay? What's your first instinct? What do? What would you do if someone offends you?
If somebody tells me something aggressively, so I'm not the person to confront. I'm not, to be honest. But then I get angry, and then I don't even know how. And if I'm gonna say something, I start crying from angry. Then, but that's me. I don't know.
I'm like that too. I don't reply, but that's also being reactive because it's your initial gut thing. So I shut down and I don't want to say anything because I don't want to cause a problem. In the scenario that I'm saying is maybe Yoli would be like that. Maybe somebody else would fight back. I think, Ghazal, what would you do if someone offended you?
I'm the same, actually.
Okay.
But later you regret that you didn't say this, why I didn't say that. When she said that, I had to say that.
You just keep thinking.
You
We keep thinking. If you go over, you're showering and you're thinking about, I should have said this, I should have said that.
Yeah.
So what happens is that's also a form of being reactive. The person who said something to you, why did they say it? It was preordained, basically, that this person on March 7th is going to come up to you and piss you off to get a reaction from you, whatever that is. So you have this moment, this chance to overcome being reactive and connect to the light. Okay? So my point in this was, what happens? I'll call 5 people. I'll be like, I can't believe she said that to me. I can't believe this happened. Every time you're doing that, I'm disconnecting from the light. I'm delaying blessings. I'm delaying peace of mind. I'm delaying prosperity. I'm delaying all that stuff, right? If you sit there, just like with the instrument, and I put my 5 senses and my ego and my body aside, what happens? You're connecting. You're like, okay, they said this, it's probably about them, it's not about me. You I don't want to say you move on, that's not the words I want to use, but you come at it from a different consciousness. And whenever you do that, you're upgrading your life. Small levels and big levels. Okay? So we said we have to be proactive. Yeah?
What if you're trying to let it go, but you're still internalizing it and you're having trouble resisting that feeling? Like, for example, I had someone who got upset with me and totally, we saw each other in public and they pretended like they didn't know me. And I was like, not a big deal. It's all good. I'm saying that in my head, but I'm not thinking that.
You're not
truly.
feeling that.
I'm like, how dare they do that to me? It's so rude. Like, just be an adult and da da da. And then it's like, okay, stop. They're not being hurt. I'm hurting myself. How do you
How do you let that
it
go? I guess you keep practicing the pause.
Just keep pausing.
Class 4
Ching,
gets
ching,
more
ching,
into that, but you
ching, ching.
keep practicing. Yeah, the ching ching, you can't, the thought that comes in is gonna come in. It's what you do with that thought. Are you constantly thinking of it? Because you can choose to let it go. You could choose to be like, I'm gonna shift my thoughts. If you keep mullering it and, that's where you're reactive. But that thought is gonna come.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
So we said, be proactive like the light, not be reactive. And we need to have a test or challenge that awakens our desire to be reactive in order for us to have the opportunity to connect. So we need a trigger, okay? So think about those triggers in your life. So the only thing that matters, like let's say you're going to court, there's a lawsuit, it's an important court date, you're trying to get there, you're late, now the coffee spills on you, and if you miss the court date, the judgment will be against you. Right? You're feeling anxious, now the coffee spilled and you're angry. None of that matters. I know it sounds crazy, but what matters is in that moment where the person took your parking spot, the coffee spilled on you, you're late for court, don't be reactive. Pause. When you pause, you've upgraded your life. You already brought in blessings and energy into the court hearing that you're late for. I know it's crazy, but this is the spiritual cause and effect. That every time you pause your physical need for instant gratification, because that's what it is. It kind of feels good to be angry. It feels good to call 5 people. It feels good to be like, she was rude and I was the bigger person. Let me call 5 people. We all do it, right? But we're here to just recognize a little at a time to make those shifts. Okay, so we said that in our lives, we always wake up, we think we want comfort. What does your body want? Your body doesn't want to get out of bed. Your body doesn't want to work out. Your body wants to eat what it wants to eat. Your soul wants the exact opposite. Your soul wants those challenges because that's when it gets to connect and draw down blessings. So think about that. Whenever you wake up with, most people wake up with a bunch of anxiety, a bunch of thoughts. What am I going to do? I have to do this. I have to do this. I'm going to be late for this. Right? That's how we all wake up. It's designed that way. You have, imagine 50 opportunities in the first half hour to upgrade your day, to upgrade your life. The instant gratification that we get, we think we're chasing it. It feels nice in the moment, right? Like you feel good when you call someone and you're like, how dare she do that to me? How dare she ignore me? It feels good. We're chasing that, but it's like a strobe light. You get a burst. It's like drugs. You get a burst. Sorry, my back is too. You get a burst of light, and then what happens? It goes dark, right? We don't want to live our lives like that. You want the constant light that's on. It's not as bright as the strobe light, but you also don't experience that darkness. Any questions? Are we good? Okay. So let's say something happens, you leave here, you're late to pick up your kids, you get in a car accident. What's your first reaction now that you've learned 2 minutes of Kabbalah? What a pleasure this car ran into me. What a pleasure that I was given this opportunity now to not be reactive, because the more difficult the pause, the more light that you're downloading. Right? So you got a 25,000 lawsuit. Oh, I wish it was 50,000. Because you have that potential, right? The physical doesn't matter. You just connect to the spiritual aspect of it and everything will work out. So pause, what a pleasure I got in my accident. Talk to the person. Don't be like, oh, now I have to do this. Like, really get in it. So there's two parts to us, right? We have our spiritual side, we have our soul, right? And then we have our physical body, which is also the ego. So I said this, but I'm going to say it again because it's in the notes. When you pause, you're pausing your physical reaction. You're pausing your physical body. You're pausing the logical mind of, now I'm in an accident, now I'm late, now my insurance is going to go up. You're pausing all of that. And you're just creating room to connect to the Creator. An example I'm going to give. I gave this example last time. Sorry, you have to hear it again. Imagine there's a girl, Julie. She breaks up with her boyfriend because the boyfriend is toxic for her, James. She breaks up, she made the choice, and she's so happy. She's moving on with her life. And then she goes on Instagram and she sees James has a new girlfriend. And the new girlfriend is prettier than her. What does she feel immediately?
Insecure.
Lack. She feels lack. So when you feel lack, what would be the next reactive thing that Julie would do? Keep scrolling. Who's Julie? I mean, who's the new girlfriend? Let me scroll. Let me Google her. Let me look at her hair. Let me look at her outfit. Let me look at her. What does she do for a living? Right? All of that is downgrading her life. Every time she does that, she's losing light. She's delaying, I don't know, the next boyfriend. She's delaying the next promotion. Whatever it is that's supposed to come to her, she's delaying it because she's constantly engaging in this reactive behavior. Let me look. What is she doing? What is she wearing? He didn't propose to me for so long. I had to leave him. Now he's proposing to her. What would be the proactive thing for her to do?
Not checking her Instagram.
Yeah, close it.
Just close it.
Close it. Close it. Move on. Hard, right? Hard.
It's very hard.
But those are your two options. Your two options are connect to the light or instant gratification. Those are her only options. So we're done with class, but before we leave, I want you guys to think about one trigger that comes up often in your life. And just think about how in that situation you could be proactive rather than reactive. Does anyone want to share it or you want to keep it to yourselves? Raz, you want to share? You want to share, Jolie?
So something that I do that
Something,
that
yeah.
I need to work
Yeah.
every morning.
Yeah, I'm thinking the
That's a
same
good
thing.
one. That's a good one.
I wake up and I'm like in a rush, and I never say good morning. I'm like, go put your shoes on, go put it, come in the backpack. Like, you know, I'm always, and I forget to say good morning. Then after 10 minutes, I'm like,
No.
you slept well? So maybe I need to work on my, for sure.
Because we get into,
Yeah.
we're late, what happened, the lunchbox,
Yeah.
did you brush your teeth, go back
Yeah.
upstairs?
Yeah. For sure.
One of my boys, he's 6. He keeps forgetting his water bottles and his jackets at school. Like, legitimately, maybe lost like 5 of each of them. And I think I get really reactive. It just like triggers something in me, like, how disrespectful can you be? So irresponsible. And I think I just, at the moment I open my mouth and I say things to him, I regret my words. Like, that moment. And I just need to
Pause.
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 He's 6. You know?
I mean, mine are 14 and they still do. Which is hilarious. Oh my God, it's 6. Oh, I left my jacket at Shiva's house. I don't know what to put it there. Okay, can you please, when you're leaving your friend's house, make sure you have your purse, your wallet, your jacket, your wallet. Yeah, I still
But it's
get
like a
upset.
trigger. Yeah.
I still get upset. And like, but now I try to be a little bit calm and talk. Would you please, when you're leaving, make sure you have this and this. I say it in
Much
exactly,
nicer, yeah.
much nicer.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
Do you want to share a trigger that you might work on?
Same thing. Yesterday was like 50 degrees. So we're in the car and I'm like, you want to use your jacket? He goes, I'm hot. And he goes, it's sunny. And I'm like, do you see the wind? Do you see how fast the wind is blowing the tree? And he goes, but mommy, I'm hot. And then I'm like, okay, so I tried, I paused. But then I'm like, wait, I don't want him to catch a cold. Then all these thoughts keep coming in my brain. Like, but it's freezing, it's 50. I'm like, look, my car even says I have the heater on in the car. This is why it's hot inside the car. But when you go outside of the car, and he goes, well, it's not that cold from walking from this outside of the car to inside. So here we are arguing for 10 minutes about a temperature change. And then I'm like, I bought you a tire. I bought you jackets. They're for a purpose. The purpose of the jackets to be worn at certain times of the year. This is the time of the year you're supposed to wear it.
Oh my God.
So I'm like literally trying hard to explain to him. And then I go over, well, did you like the Abercrombie jacket that I got you? Do you like the color? Would you like another? Like, I'm literally going down the list, but it didn't work. So then again in the morning, he wakes up, he's wearing a sweater, and my husband's like, it's freezing today. And he looks at me, and I'm like, and then he's like, okay, fine. And then he goes, wears the thinnest jacket he could find. And if it's supposed to trigger me, it did. And I looked at him like, it's cold. And he goes, but mommy, I'm hot.
So your form of reactive behavior is you're trying to control him.
Yes.
You're trying to convince him, control him, manipulate him, whatever it takes.
Yeah.
Maybe guilt him, I bought it for you.
Yeah, did all of it. Didn't work.
But that's not, but do you see that that's all reactive though?
Yeah, I do. But then, okay, so then if he comes home with a cold and then he starts sneezing, then I'm like, well, I'm trying to help you, but you're not. So then how would I?
Whether he gets a cold or not, that's not of the concern. The concern is that one moment, don't be reactive. Don't try to force, don't try to manipulate, don't try to coerce, don't try to, you said your piece. Think about it. Would the creator sit there and say, but it's cold? Wear your jacket.
Okay, but I have a question, sir. Then he's gonna get sick, comes home.
Yeah.
We are the ones.
We have to deal with it. Yes.
Yeah.
But in this process, she's downgrading her life. So maybe the cold is going to be worse. Maybe he won't get a cold.
You also have to let him learn from it too, right? Like, so maybe that's something he needs to learn and grow from. Like the being cold, as part of his growth.
But it's hard.
It's very hard.
When, as a parent, you think you know what's best for them, it's very hard not to impose it on them.
I felt guilty afterwards, so I literally, like, right before he got into school, I said, I'm sorry, I love you, I just want you to be warm and cozy. I felt bad, but I still do it.
Still do it.
But sometimes I feel like if you would push it a little bit, it would be work and then he would not get the cold. What about that one? Then
Maybe, but you still lost that light because you're pushing it.
no, sometimes you don't push it, but later on you feel like
You should
You
have.
should have.
You
I
should
should
have.
have, and then this would not be happen.
Yeah.
He would not get cold. Then you feel bad.
Yeah.
What about that one?
Amen.
I don't know about the push it, like thinking about it, but when you think about, I wish I did this, I wish I did that, that's also a form of being reactive because you're.
The past is a past. I guess you have just to let it go and think about the future. Because I do that to myself. If I would have do that, if I tell my husband to done that, maybe this wouldn't happen. If I tell my son do that, this wouldn't happen. And then at the end of the day, I say, you know what? When I'm thinking about past, I can move on to my future. It's not gonna move on. So I'm just let it go. Like,
Every time you're thinking about, I should have done this, I should have done that, you're losing light.
exactly.
You can think about it for a minute. I should have done this. Great. I learned.
Didn't
Move
happen.
on.
Yeah.
If you keep going over it, it's like having a leak in your
No,
pipes.
it's not.
It's just
It's
gonna
not.
drain.
It's not because I go that.
Actually,
Like, every
Ronnie
day.
wrote a post. He wrote, "Stop cheating on your future by thinking about your past."
That-
Although you're cheating on your future, if you say you're not a cheater, stop cheating on the future with thinking about your past. And I'm like, that stuck to me. I'm like, wow, that's amazing.
Anyone else want to share one of the
Actually,
triggers?
I have a question from you. When you see some people, let's just have an example. This Michael, baby Michael,
Mm-hmm.
who is going
Mhm,
through
mhm.
all these things with the mother situation and everything. When you look at it from outside and you see the trigger for that mother, who is seeing all this situation with her little boy going through all the ups and downs, and then let's just have an example
Yeah.
like about me. Let's say wearing a jacket,
Yeah.
because I have the same situation, and it just really make me angry, and I feel like it gets a lot of energy from me. How do you explain these two triggers?
How do you explain
me,
why some people have bigger problems than
like
others?
bigger triggers versus, let's say, wearing jacket, which is my trigger. It could be my trigger, or waking up in the morning and just, I'm not a morning person. I don't have energy to deal with all the like backpack, lunchbox, and everything. When you look at it from outside and see the trigger from this person,
Someone
and
else's
my own
challenge is much
yeah.
bigger than yours.
How do you explain that? Is that something like you can say? I don't know. I just want to hear from you.
So we actually did this in our Kabbalah 2 class.
I don't remember.
So when this is way beyond our first class, but basically, when you come and you have a challenge, those people, Carolyn and baby Michael's soul before he was born knew that this is going to be the path that he's going to take. And not only is he here for his own growth, but he's here for those around him. So his mom, his dad, all of us who even hear about him, whatever it brings up within us, however it creates us to change and grow. And everyone's challenge is on their level. Maybe someone's challenge, you're in first grade, you're gonna have first grade challenges, right? You're in high school, you have high school challenges.
It depends if you're new soul or old soul, or
And what
how many
lesson you
times
need to learn.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that is the best way for that family to learn that lesson. But these are a lot more complex, but that's a simple way to explain it.
Because when you see these kind of things, then I'm like that. When I see these kind of things, I think like, okay, I'm complaining about
Yeah.
wearing jacket or
Yeah.
not wearing jacket.
Yeah.
Actually, we had an episode last week. I was at my mom's house on a Thursday. My sister had like 3 bags of clothing. She said, I don't want to use them. I want to throw them away. And I said, you know what? Don't throw them away. I just put it on the WhatsApp group that you gave me, Gamesh.
And someone took it, yeah.
Someone messaged me in 5 minutes. This person, and I didn't know who she was. She was like, where are you located? I said, here. And she said, okay, I'm going to be there in half an hour. Thank you so much. My English is not very good. I'm Israeli with like broken English. Then she showed up after half an hour. I didn't know who she was. I took the bag. I went outside. This lady came and she was like, God bless you. Thank you so much. This is a big help. And she said, I feel like I met you somewhere before. You look so familiar. I said, I don't know, maybe somewhere. I don't remember. And she said, maybe you were praying for me somehow. I said, okay, what's the situation? She said, I'm the mom who experienced all the thing with my daughter, 2-year-old daughter. She got drowned in a bathtub. Do you know about that? Like 4 years ago, 5 years ago. But she's alive. She's alive in a coma. And she's still alive. And she started
I
telling
was
me
always
her
wondering what happened to
situation.
her.
She's still
Always.
alive.
They
She's
moved,
OC.
moved to Florida and
No,
they came back.
OC. No. She
They
said
must
she's in
always-
this facility in Orange County because that's the only place that they can take